All right, y'all. For a quick second, let's talk about branding. Maybe we could even talk a little bit about rebranding and how that ties into how you're perceived on the job or how you market yourself to a potential employer or to a potential client. Um, the thought of Nike and Adidas has been on my mind for all morning. And so just to get it out of my head and get it to you all, I said, let me just do this video real quick. But everybody that knows Nike, we kind of know it as probably the dominant athletic brand out there and one of the most dominant brands in the world, period, regardless of what space you're talking about. And a brand that's kind of really leads the way in terms of owning the number one spot in a market for a very long time. Even everything from its logo to its name, it is highly recognizable anywhere that you go. At the same time, Nike still has competitors. Nike still has to go up against Adidas, which pretty much does the exact same thing that Nike does. However, even though these two companies do pretty much the same thing, they each know how to differentiate themselves in their own unique way. So, for instance, both companies make basketball sneakers, right? But we all know that the Nike brand has owned, ever since Michael Jordan's been around, back in like the 80s, Nike has owned the dominant spot for basketball sneakers, or as some of you all out there in other parts of the world call it, of the US, tennis shoes. But notice that doesn't mean that Adidas can't make basketball shoes, because Adidas very much still creates basketball shoes and basketball sneakers, right? At the same time, Adidas's main emphasis, like we always think about Nike as the number one brand, number one sneaker brand, or what have you. But guess what? Adidas also has figured out where it can be number one as far as a sport shoe. And what do you think that is? Some of y'all might know, some of y'all may not. But that thing is when it comes to the soccer sneakers. And that's important for us to recognize, because while we do want to figure out where our main emphasis is and where we can be number one at, that doesn't mean that we can't do the other things that make sense for us to do. If we operate in one industry, or if we operate in one particular job sector, there are other aspects of that job that it still will be important to know. If our brand focuses on a specific thing, it doesn't mean that we can't do other things. But at the same time, we probably want to know what our main thing is first and foremost, and make sure to build that up, because you want to have somewhere where you can win at. All right. Now, even with those two brands, you still have Under Armour, which has begun to climb the ranks as of late. Matter of fact, I would say Under Armour has probably taken over like the number 2 spot, or if not taken over, it's pretty close up there for basketball sneakers. And I think they did a good job, even though they didn't land Kevin Durant at one point when they were trying to go for him and he ended up going with Nike. The fact that they went after him and went after him aggressively, I think put them on the map and made them serious contenders in the basketball arena. And then once they landed Stephen Curry and he did what he did, to make his name great in the league, man, that really put Under Armour on the map. Now, to me, Under Armour has undergone somewhat of a rebrand, because they originally were focused on football. Like, I remember them having commercials where it was really like football physique individuals who were the dominant focal point of their brand. But now they have gone more so the basketball route, all right, and thrown their hat in there. And then we can even talk about how these sneaker companies originally focused only on athletics, but as culture has shifted in the past years, and especially as athletes have also become a strong part of pop culture, I think you see where these brands have said, we don't only have to focus on the athletes, we can begin getting pop stars and pop culture, and musicians and all that kind of stuff to represent our brand. So Adidas will partner up with a Kanye, and then like Adidas period has probably tried to do the most that they could to own the pop culture branding aspect. And Adidas kind of been doing that back since Run DMC, right? Because with the shell top sneakers and all that stuff. So I'm not just talking about these big brands just for the sake about talking about them, but when you approach for those of you who are, going through interviews, do you know what it is that you are the main thing at? So let's put this all within the context of problems, because I think that's the best way to make it clear for us. But Nike has said that, okay, we're the number one in terms of solving the problem of providing a sneaker that basketball athletes can wear that is stylish and effective, okay, and will help their performance. Adidas has positioned themselves as the number one as far as soccer sneakers go, okay? What do you see yourself as being the number one problem solver for, okay? And that should help you to identify what jobs you could be looking at. That should help you to identify what industry you should be looking within, all right? So there's different layers to jobs. First, you have to know what industry do I feel like I'm in? And then within that industry, what job do I feel like I could really tackle in that industry? And that can potentially lend you some guidance. Some of you may not be there yet. Some of it may require training. Okay, if I feel like I can be number one in those industries, do I have the training for that, et cetera? Where should I go and get training for that based on what it is that I want to do? And then how do I talk about my ability to solve the problems within that job position or that job industry when I get in there, okay? Do I know what the problems are? And how can I solve that? And how can I position myself as the go-to person for that? Same thing can happen on the job. I know right now, I think about my current manager, and one of the things that he does, he's not necessarily a tech guy, but he has positioned himself, through his knowledge of strong knowledge of working Excel spreadsheets and kind of understanding computers, even though it's not what his position is. He's positioned himself to work on a CRM for the company, and so he's doing things that are outside of his job title, but he's known as the go-to guy on certain things, even a little bit more than some of our IT guys are the go-to guys are on some computer and techie type stuff. So there's various ways that you can skin the cat, so to speak. There's various ways that you can position yourself. There's various ways that you can brand yourself. But you got to kind of identify either what problem do I solve well right now, or what problems do I want to solve well. And then based on that, how do I position myself to solve those problems, become a master at solving those problems. And then not only that, but again, my hope is that you'll figure out how do I articulate that to potential employers, potential clients that I might run into. So hope that was helpful. Average is failure. I'm going to try to send y'all just more and more thoughts that hopefully will help you. Some of them might be fitting for some might be fitting for others, but hopefully it'll just help y'all begin thinking about how to position yourself for what it is that you want to accomplish as far as your career. So I'm out of here. Peace.